the magicians come out to challenge Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. They come out in their numbers. The narration suggests from 900 to tens of thousands. When Sayyidina Musa alayhi salatu wasalam tells them, drop whatever you have, and they drop, فَأَلْقَوْا حِبَالَهُمْ وَعِصِيَّهُمْ وَقَالُوا بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ. And just to thrill Fir'aun and to excite Fir'aun, they drop their staff and they drop their ropes, and they say, in the honor and the glory of Pharaoh, we will be dominant. And they said, وَقَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْيَوْمَ مَنِ اسْتَعْلَى. Whoever is successful today is indeed blessed. Whoever wins is honored. And that was true. They said it implying that victory was theirs, only to realize in the end that they were defeated and victory was for Musa alayhi salam. But to expedite things, Musa alayhi salam momentarily feels a sense of nervousness. فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةً مُوسَى. And why did he feel the sense of nervousness? A Nabi's faith on Allah is unshakable, unmovable. But Musa alayhi salam thought for himself that when I'm going to drop my staff, it's also going to be into a serpent. It's going to do very similar things which they did. And the nature of their magic or their witchcraft, the Quran says, was Saharu a'yun an-nas. And these are different types of magic. And one of it is where you cast a spell on the vision of people. So the reality remains the same. The stick is a stick, the staff is a staff, but you play with the eyes of people, you play with the vision of people, you tamper with the sight of people. It appears to them, as the Quran said, يُخَيَّلُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ سِحْرِهِمْ أَنَّهَا تَسْعَى, that due to the nature of their magic. And the Quran acknowledges وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. In terms of magic, they displayed amazing magic. وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ. They struck terror in the hearts of people. They dropped the staff, thousands and thousands of serpents moving around, people in absolute panic. Allah told Musa alayhi salam, "La takhaf, don't fear. Innaka antal a'la. You will reign sovereign. You will reign dominant over them. Drop what's in your hand. Alqi." Here again the Mufassirin said that Allah said, whatever is in your hand, just drop it and see what happens. And when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam drops it, and they realize that this is not witchcraft, and the Quran says it's so amazing. May Allah bless us with the ecstasy of worship. We have many other ecstasies, many other excitements where we jump with joy. There is also a joy in the pleasure of Allah. We have tasted the fake pleasure of roaming our gazes. May Allah expose us to the pure pleasure of restraining our gaze. We have tasted the fake pleasure of hoarding our wealth. May Allah introduce us to the wholesome pleasure of spending our wealth. We have tasted the fake pleasure of staying awake in the night, playing cards, watching movies, seeing perusing porn, and doing the rest of it. May Allah introduce us to the wholesome pleasure of conversing with Allah. There is also a different pleasure in that. فَأُلْقِيَ السَّحَرَةُ سَاجِدِينَ. Allah says when Sayyidina Musa dropped his staff and it swallowed everything, the magicians did not fall into sajda. Allah didn't use the word fall. Allah said they were dropped. They were dropped. Meaning, given the miraculous nature of the miracle of Musa alayhi salam, they had no choice but to drop down and say, this is the absolute being and this is the absolute Allah. Amanna bi Rabbil Alameen. And I was speaking about this young boy, that how Allah changed his destiny. In 13 months, today the boy is sitting in front of us and reading Quran. Recently, last year somewhere, I had a program in one of the informal settlements. And it was a Saturday night. It was in a very simple structure. A tent was erected. Basic lighting was put up, which is the norm there. But we got exposure to it because the program was there. And I didn't make much of my audience. Gave my humble talk, and then there was some meals arranged. There was a lovely atmosphere. I returned home the next day. The Imam who hosted me dropped me a message. He said, "Sheikh, there was a brother from the informal settlement who owns 3 casinos and a shebeen, and he attended the program. he was so moved, he accepted the deen and he shut all his casinos. I said, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. This is when a person, the Quran says, there are two systems of Allah giving guidance. Allahu yajtabi ilayhi man yasha wa yahdi ilayhi man yunib. One is the prerogative of Allah and one is the justice of Allah. The prerogative of Allah is He can guide whomsoever He wishes. I've met many people in my travels who just felt the instinct and the inclination without meeting with anyone. There was just a dream and a vision and an inclination, and Allah guided them. So Allah says, one is the person I select. That is my prerogative. That is my choice. And my justice is that whoever desires it, I never deny it. Whoever desires it, earnestly, honestly. But you got to be sincere. In the opening verses of the 21st juz, Allah says, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Verily, prayer will stop you from immorality. Prayer will prevent you from immorality and sin. In the footnotes of this ayah is written, many can argue I'm performing prayer for so many years, but I still do my evil. And the answer given is given very beautifully. Are you taking the medication as prescribed by Allah or not? What tablets you taking? Okay, what's your dosage? How many times a day? Well, that's the problem. You know you don't ever take it with caffeine. You don't take it before having tea or after tea. So you're not taking it in the correct dosage, in the correct quantity, at the correct time. You're not going to see the desired results. So what happened to these magicians? They came in the morning, and these are the words of Ibn Kathir. In the morning, they were disbelievers. They were opponents to the Prophet, and they were magicians. And in the evening of that same day, they were believers, they were Sahaba, and they were martyrs. So really, my brother, may Allah take the young boy from strength to strength. And our other little lad, mashallah, who came, so sweet. You know, like one scholar said it so beautifully, when children are small, they're so sweet, you say, I feel like eating them up. And then when they grow up, you say, why I didn't eat them up? Because now that same child who was so sweet and adorable, tragically he evolves into a monster. He was so sweet, he was so loving, he was so obliging, he was so, he had this amazing soft demeanor. And then tragically he succumbs to the provocations of society, arrogance in his attitude, pride in his speech, haughtiness in his language. The hadith of Bukhari, Nabi alayhi salam says a young man was walking, clad in a beautiful garb, tu'jibuhu nafsuhu, impressed by his attire. And then Allah just told the earth to swallow him. And the earth caved and swallowed him, and he was wiped out. And it made no difference to the earth. The earth will, Alam naj'alil arda kifata ahya'an wa amwata. Have you not reflected over the earth how amazing it is? Allah says in Surah Mursalat, that its belly houses your deceased, and its back accommodates your living. Can you have a room? No, this is the sitting room, that's a living room, that's a dead room. I know of a brother who's got a house adjacent to the cemetery. He says, I got it for a song. Why? Nobody wants to buy it. He said, I bought it because I'm not going to die earlier. I'll die on my time, and it will be just easy. I don't need a hearse. They can just take me and drop me off. He said, but nobody wants to buy the house. Why? It's adjacent to the cemetery. For a child to come up, even to mumble something, it's a miracle. And then to him, the glory of Allah is a miracle of a much greater magnitude. If a child comes up and he masters the courage just to come and say anything, even if it doesn't make sense, is amazing. The child in the cradle, the toddler in the crib that defended the honor of Yusuf alayhi salam and exonerated Yusuf alayhi salam. The Quran says, وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ كَانَ قَمِيصُهُ قُدَّ مِنْ قُبُلٍ. That when we do zina, apart from Allah watching, Allah has also humans that are watching. The creation of Allah is also watching. One of my scholars used to mention this often, and it strikes a chord with me, and I share it often. He says, everybody is observing your shenanigans and your arrogance. Some are silent out of desperation, and others are silent out of dignity, but everybody knows what you're up to.